Warhammer The Horus Heresy, Eidolon The Auric Hammer by Mark Collins. Chapter 18, Monsters and Kin. Plegwa stumbled and weaved through the madness, chasing the centre of the song. Perhaps in time he would truly ascend to the Dark Prince's mysteries, and this would be as mere instinct. He could feel the changes in the song, the subtle aches and shifts, flashes of things that were not quite visions, sieved through the Lord Commander's pain. The sting of clawed fingers as they traced the scrimshawed ravels upon his half-face, displayed like a carnival mask for the final feast to come. He shook himself from dreams and hefted his weapon instrument once more. He sighted and fired, and created art. Ophir Damascus vaulted over the pile of streaming rubble and died screaming in mid-air. The sonic blast caught him and held him for one beautiful moment, as every molecule in his being vibrated. Coherence persisted, struggled to maintain itself, and then came apart. Blood fountained from every seam of his armour. The plates burst apart and shattered. The seals at each joint atomized. He was still howling as he died, his lunatic euphoria subsumed into the song. "Forwards," Plegwa rumbled. Von Calder nodded and followed, firing as he went. His other hand was occupied with the narthexium mechanisms bolted onto his wrist. Occasionally he would pause to introduce a new chemical element into Plegwa's straining system, mediating the war between stimulants and pain goads. Plegwa had found him in the roiling insanity, hunched over in some ornamental garden, chest heaving with the strain of resisting. Von Calder had already saturated his own system with calmatives, struggling to hold his ravaged psyche together. Plegwa could taste the chemicals on the air, bleeding from Von Calder's pores, warring with the adrenaline surging from the equerry's tortured physique. "Forwards," he whispered in agreement. Each word was a struggle, forced through gritted teeth. "The heart of the fortress bleeds, collapsing. Down into the pit he goes, down with the king amidst the ashes." Plegwa's voice was almost a sing-song as he passed the furious power of the warp, drawing his verse from the universe's sick skin. Von Calder nodded his assent as Plegwa led him on, pausing now and then to guide him by the shoulder, as he might the blind or the lost. The last traces of the Lord Commander Primus's presence lay towards the core, where Eidolon had advanced up the centre to meet Garog, spear-tip to spear-tip. "Always such an arrogant creature," Plegwa mused, "and yet he has the right. He is our lord, the firstborn of the cacophony, Fabius's triumph." There was enough left of Plegwa that remembered what it meant to be a soldier rather than a weapon. So many of them had given in, surrendered to becoming nothing more than instruments in the eternal song. Just as his brothers had surrendered, given in to the terrible melody that howled from the fortress ruins. The Neverborn were everywhere now, conducting their own choirs and performances from the ruins of battlements and habs. Human corpses, claw-ravaged and broken, hung from the windows, impaled upon glass, strung from gibbets for the amusement of the dark gods. Vast, swollen monsters, their horned heads bound with leather straps, held court in burning armories, and presided over meat foundries into which lifeless bodies were poured. He wished he had time. He could kneel at the feet of such beings. He could learn new pleasures and sing new songs of boundless suffering. He should...
"No. Keep moving," he growled. "This is not how our song ends."
The descent was pain. The pit was not a natural formation. It had no natural origin. To his eyes it seemed acid-etched into the world, racked by vulgar flame and edged in obsidian. Balefire licked at the heavens in green infernos. Violet plumes danced amidst the strangely angled cave formations. At the core of the great shaft was a vast spear of warp-light scraped at the heavens, blazing like a beacon, resonating like a symphony at the end of all things. Vociferon snarled and yanked his eyes away, panting like a hound, acid saliva pouring from his lips. The Legion was dying around them. He had not seen a living son of Horus in. How long had it been? How long had they been fighting? How long had he been hunting? It did not matter. Only the prey mattered.
"He is weak. He is killing the third millennial. I will make him see."
Malachus was somewhere below, capering from ledge to ledge. All decency forgotten, he had to be punished, made to repent his petty vanities. Something at the back of his skull hissed and whispered, insistent that one or both should die. Offered up as a sacrifice. Nothing more than sensation for the rites. His sword scraped the rock, seeking purchase as he readied himself. He vaulted to a lower echelon. Vociferon could hear the laughter from below. It would not be long now. Soon he would have what he desired most. The pain and pleasure would abate, and it would only be the glory of the moment.
"Now, my brothers,"
he called, and somewhere behind him, Aleph and the others snarled their own responses.
"we end him here, and now."
The pit embraced him as a lover, welcomed him with all the pain and pleasure he expected. The world beneath the world was a sacred thing now, shaped by the will of the gods alone. Fire clawed its way skywards, lighting him in its mad hues. The colours of his armour had run and shifted. The demon blood he had daubed himself in responded to its source, coming alive once more. It crooned to him, assuring him his choice was correct. He could feel the pulse and thrum of it, the warp's mad song finally given voice. Everything rang with the Shattered King's laughter, with the screams and howls that he could swear belonged to the Lord Commander Primus. This had been his doing, Malachus realized. On some level, Eidolon's very presence had brought this into being. They were bound together, Eidolon and the dying world. He'd risen to power here. Perhaps that power scarred them both, a wound in soul and reality that the warp could exploit. Down into the pit's depths he descended. Others followed him. He could not be sure of their numbers or allegiance. Circling down towards the glories that awaited, he could smell the potential that dwelt below, so close and yet so far. Malachus hit the ground running, finally at the base of the great gouge in the earth. The others followed him. Bale was right behind him, along with 5 others. A meagre pack, but enough for their purposes. The warp's caustic touch had eaten away at the roots of the palace militant like acid, cutting and working with the skill of the infinite. The pit felt like a suppurating lesion, cut into the world by the inelegant scalpel of the immaterium. It put him in mind of a meteor crater, biting deep into the planet's crust. He beheld the fruit of that labour now. The rift itself was a sphere of unreality, a pulsing sword that seemed at once void, and yet possessed a disturbing solidity. It nestled where it had fallen, drawing errant debris into its hungry maw. Malachus drew nearer, claws raised, to touch it, to pass through it, to cut his way in. He could hear the screaming agony of its very existence. His teeth hurt just to stand near it. Another howl cut through the tumult as he spun about, claws raised and crossed. Malachus turned aside the sweep of Vociferon's blade, joy-mad and shrilling as he did.
"Brother!"
he cackled. The swordsman did not answer. All of the warrior's restraint had been ripped away. He carried only one sword, swinging it like a berserker. Malachus capered back, driving his claws into the other warrior's side. More of Vociferon's ragged host descended, hurling themselves at the hedonists with wild abandon. Brothers brawled, tearing at each other. Swords split faces and cut across stomachs in disemboweling strokes. Claws and mauls cracked plate. Malachus watched Reichen Bale seize one of Vociferon's lieutenants by the helm and squeeze, crushing it in a shower of blood and bone with his power fist.
"Is it not wonderful?" Malachus taunted. "This is the feast we were always meant for, my brother. This is what victory tastes like. This is all I ever wanted for you to see the beauty of it."
Vociferon's eyes were wild, his features locked in a hateful rictus. It broke for a single second. The sword came round again, nicking Malachus at the throat. He tasted blood, felt it run down the inside of his armour.
"There he is," Malachus screamed. "Show me your true colours, swordsman. Show me what all that aesthete's restraint hides."
The great beacon rift blazed behind them, shuddering with every blow. Reality moved and swayed with their colliding weapons. Brothers locked in mortal conflict tumbled apart in another pulse of light. The shadows dissipated, and never-born concubines slid from the darkness, claws clacking as they applauded the riotous bloodshed and suffering that now abounded. Something yearned to be born, feeding on their sorrows and their pain. "Don't feed it! Stop this!" Something pleaded in the recesses of his mind. One of the demonettes looked skyward, eyes narrowing, lip curling as her claws came up in a futile gesture of warding. The figure that descended was immense, its bulk slamming through her in a burst of perfumed ichor. It did not falter or hesitate. It swung its weapon around in a great circular arc. Astarte's warriors hit the walls as a great wave of sound drove them back. Malachus went to one knee. He could taste blood again. His lip had split. He felt the warm liquid flowing from his eyes, nose, and ears. Vociferon staggered back, standing only because he had dug his sword into the earth, clinging to it like a drowning man to driftwood. That chapter was such a tease. Honestly. Just when they start to fight, just when they start to have a go at each other, finally. The whole book wanting to have that fight. And someone just interrupts it. Like, as soon as it gets started. My God. Mark, my guy. My guy. Like, you're a great author, but I can't believe you've done this. Stop edging the reader. Just let us, like, just let us have our moment of catharsis, damn it. I suppose it's very Emperor's Children to do, though. Let's be honest. But yeah, that was really nice. I'm still liking the exploration of what happens to people. I'm honestly surprised by how then again, I guess with Malachrys, it's kind of his natural state. This is just who Malachrys is, so it's Vociferon, really, who's going through all the changes and tumult. It was also nice seeing Volden Calder a bit. And Plegua. I like Till. He's a good character. I can't wait to see more. Anyway, I hope you like that. Please do like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff if you enjoyed this. If you didn't enjoy it, please just leave a comment and tell me what's wrong or what I can do better. If there's a book you'd like to hear me read, please do let me know, and I will do my best to find the time for it, honestly. It'd be nice to do a single chapter of a book every single day. I think that's what I'm going to try my best to do next year. I wonder how many books I'd be able to get through. Some of the Warhammer Black Library stuff is really long, though. But things like this, I quite like this book. It's well paced. It's not too long. Every time you read a chapter, it feels like you're making progress, like in a video game. It's good. I like it. Anyway, I'll see you later. Okay, moi.